TBL. Good morning to all do your followers have a name, or are they Bud Labbers, or are they TBLers?
Um, yeah, I kind of call them. Well, I kind of call them a little bit of everything. To be honest, it depends on the day. It really depends on the day. Sometimes they're TVLers. Sometimes they're just a bunch of hooligans. Sometimes they're just my chat. Just depends on how I'm feeling.
Well, I got a warm welcome from them, so I appreciate that. So, good
Uh,
morning, everybody.
all right, we are now live here on the stream. Everything should be good. Hopefully, this is your first time here, eh?
Yeah, it's my first time. I've been watching the stream,
Yeah,
for the past few months. I've always been a follower of you guys and watching the outdoor grow, watching the grass grow.
yeah, right now, eh?
Yeah,
Well,
and
hopefully,
that outdoor season will be there soon.
yeah, hopefully we can start getting some flowers out there, and it actually turns into some decent entertainment with the water gun, and we can spray the squirrels off the bird feeders and stuff from the chat, which is what a lot of us do in the summer.
Yeah,
I set up a
my
couple
dog.
water guns, yeah. So
Yeah.
today, guys, we've got Jay from Mendo Cannabis here. And the first question I actually have, I guess you can take it away here, is you want to let us know who you are and what do you do and what is Mendo, and let everyone in the chat know what you do, because I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah, no, I'll give you the $5 tour.
Yes, yes. I'll pay the $5 after,
So,
okay?
our official LP name is Medicibus, which is kind of a mix of medical and cannabis. It was named before I joined the company. Terrible name. If you ever have to explain what your name means, it's not a good name. So Medicibus is our LP. We have a 25,000 square foot cultivation facility just about 15 minutes from downtown Montreal in the South Shore in a little town called Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu.
Okay.
And in that facility, we're growing presently three strains now. The first one is our vanilla frosting, which is a Humboldt genetic. It's a gelato back cross. Very popular, beautiful flower. Um, Pretty good seller at the SQDC and one of the top sellers in Mendo. What we do with our flower for Mendo is we take only the top colas and we
Okay.
package those in large formats in 14 gram and 28 gram offerings of just the tops. So people know exactly what they're getting and doing that at a reasonable price.
It, is
Um,
that what you guys call the Mendo Select brand?
exactly, Mendo Select. And in that Mendo Select brand is also bulk flower that we purchase from LPs from all across Canada. And we bring it into our R&D facility and we'll test it and grade it and figure out what the fair market value is on that flower. It's a tough job having to smoke 20 different strains in one afternoon to do this, but we try, So, and very few make it. And the Mendo Select category is kind of revolving. The ones that are really working well, we bring back and then we introduce new ones. And this allows smaller growers
Yep,
who really had no path to market because of the costs to get something into a government
totally.
store, lots of cash flow that's required in order to keep that going. So we really help empty their vaults,
Yep.
and we'll purchase it straight from them, sometimes for even more than the government stores
Oh,
will,
really?
because
Okay.
there's so many hands in the cookie jar,
Yeah.
taking a piece that when they're dealing direct with us, I can give them that amount right up front. So really helping a lot of LPs, and that's what we really want our legacy to be: is helping those smaller micro producers, smaller LPs, those legacy growers, those home growers that got that micro license. They grow really good flower, great
Yeah.
genetics, great ethics, people, everything that we want to support in this community that we love so much. With that being said, we also grow a one-to-one balanced strain, which is also a humble genetic, mind you, which is
Okay.
called Purple Mountain Majesty. And I can say without any ego that the Purple Mountain Majesty is the most sought after balanced one-to-one strain in Canada in the regulated market right now. We can't grow enough of it. It
Really?
tastes it tastes like when you're a kid, one of those great grape juice boxes. Smells
Okay.
like that, tastes like that. The effects are sublime, is the word that I would use on has on your body.
Very
So
similar to what our the member berry that we have here in TBL that we all grow.
Right.
Very, very candy-y. When we kind of press it into rosin, we call it more of like that red wine.
That cherry red wine, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some samples of that, guys. So my address will be provided in the chat later on. We accept all sorts of samples. I don't mind sending some back out too. Uh, with that being said, we always knew that we wanted to sell our own products to medical. And when I came into the company, I advised the board and the investors that only selling our products would be very hard to have people switch over without having that variety.
Mhm.
And that variety is really what's important. And with the regulations against the sale, and this is in Quebec only, where there's no vapes, no edibles, no topicals, no THC content over 30%, no real extracts besides, a 29%
This is all
hash
for
that's
the rec market, right?
all for the rec market. And these are really sought after products
Yeah.
and that Quebecers deserve. So, you know, we wanted to turn Mendo into a marketplace of all the most sought after products in Canada, in the stuff that you can't get in your particular province, regardless of what province that you're in. There's people in Saskatchewan that want to try, for example, a Lot 420 Gelato 33. It's not
Yeah.
available in that province. What are they to
Exactly.
do? Go drive to BC or to Calgary to get some? Really not worth it.
Yeah.
So if we can curate a menu that from the experience we have in the industry, from the experience we have in the community, knowing what people want, but more importantly, knowing what they don't want.
Hmm.
That's what really separates you. We're defined by the companies we work with, or better said, we're defined by the companies we don't work with. We're at the point right now where the producers are coming to us and they're saying, we want to be on Mendo, we need to be on Mendo. Well, if you provide a great product at a great price, then we'd be happy to give you a shot and put you on there. That it's virtual counter, right? There's no shelves that I have to worry about, running out of space like the
Yeah.
SQDC does.
No.
Um,
And that's
so
probably
we
why
launched
you guys are dominating, because I know from, I don't know when you guys really started or anything like that, but I know like maybe a year and a half ago, I started hearing it in my chat the word Mendo, 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 Mendo. And then I started checking it out. And yeah, and I can see like a lot of the guys that are in TBL community, or a lot of guys that I look up to in the Instagram community who's growing it within the market, are first on Mendo. They're better price on Mendo, and you can see what you guys are doing is taking the guys who we all look up to as craft growers, most of it, and you guys are putting it on your website, right? And we're able to go there. It's
Yeah,
sweet.
we want to provide the best, what we call care to people and
Mhm.
selection and quality and service and everything that goes along with it. I'll pick up I see an email come in with a complaint, I can let customer service handle it, but I can't. I got to
Mhm.
pick up the phone, I call that person. I want to give them that personal attention.
Yeah.
I want to tell them, look, like this came across my desk. I could have responded in an email, but I wanted to talk to you in person.
Mhm.
Feeling that that person has when they get off the phone is that this company actually cares about me because we do.
Mhm.
So with that being said, we actually only launched in September.
Okay.
Only in Quebec. Our Endo brand, our vanilla frosting, other products were available at the SQDC. We have a bunch of SKUs there, and we're going to open up rec in Ontario and other things. And we're doing some contract grows for some other
Okay.
brands, we'll call them.
Mhm.
I'm sure maybe you guys can figure out which
Yeah.
brands we're growing.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, so that's where we're at right now. We're in a hyper growth stage. In January and the beginning of February, we transitioned all the patients from Shelter Marketplace
Mhm.
and CanMart, who were closing. We were the right choice for them. We were able to ease that transition and move them over quickly. Mendo is a family-run business. It's the Bisonet family. Excuse me for a second. um, where's that mute button?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, brother and sister. One's the CEO, one's the master grower. They were always in horticulture in their lives. They had a garden center for 30 years in Saint
Oh.
Jean. They found roots in that. So they're cannabis people. And when I met them, I knew these were the people that I wanted to work with. I worked with other LPs, and I can give you my history, and we can get into that also. But I'll let you move on to more questions. But these are bootstrap people. So when I see my CEO going in and helping the temp workers trim, just because she wants to be there, and you know, and when or help pick pack orders for patients. I knew these were the right people for us. You know, these were people who cared about their business. It wasn't a corporate environment, and I knew that I could build this company into something that was truly, truly special, and we're getting there.
Yeah, 100%. What I can see it in the community, and as you can see, I'm in the community every day trying to. Well, my one of my goals always have been trying to link industry with community, and community is consumers, right? And getting the interviews now, like bringing on people who are directly in the industry, allows us craft growers to really see where our next step is. Like, where do we want to go, right? Are we interested in owning, looking into dispensaries? Are we interested in growing? Are we interested in extracting? Like, are we interested in the analytics, right? Like, it's being able to talk with someone who's in the industry is obviously key.
Yeah, it's rare that you and I could reach out to 10 LPs and all 10 of them will be able to have a conversation like you and I are having,
Exactly.
right? We're cannabis guys, you know, we
Hmm.
speak the same language, we have the same passion for the plant. And there's still a lot of novices out there that are just starting to get into cannabis.
Hmm.
And sometimes it can feel overwhelming and a little bit you know, nervous to walk into an SQDC and ask questions,
Yep.
because most of the time they'll go in, they won't get their questions answered the way that they want. They'll kind of turn them off. And that's a shame.
Yep.
So with Mendo, we wanted to make it very accessible to all Canadians. Um, some people have contrary views to this opinion, but I believe all cannabis is medical, regardless of where you buy it. I think everyone has a desired effect that they're trying to achieve on their body. Um, for this stream, for example, I'm sure there was a specific strain that you chose to smoke in that bowl before we got on that you knew wasn't going to
Hmm.
give you heavy or tired, maybe more euphoric, more talkative, and
Totally.
you really feel in those strains for the effect that you're trying to achieve on your body. That necessarily isn't a medical reason why you did that, but you understand the plant and you understand the effects that it's going to have on you. But you may have one that helps you sleep. You may have one that you can watch a movie with the girlfriend or the wife
Totally.
or anyone for that matter where you're not going to pass out or when you're going to a party. So that's the education that we want to start bringing, more data.
Yeah.
And one thing that's coming on Mendo is we're going to be working with all the laboratories that do the testing in Canada. And
Nice.
we're going to be compiling all this data so that when you go onto this Mac 1 on Mendo, you can see that this Mac 1 is in the 99th percentile of myrcene from all the other plants that have been tested in
Hmm.
Canada.
Hmm.
Um, and it will change the way that we purchase cannabis. Because right now, how are we
Totally.
purchasing cannabis? Back in the day, how would we purchase it, right? The guy would come in over, you'd go see someone, you'd open the bag, you'd smell it. Okay, great, that's good. I'll take that. No,
Hmm.
I don't want that. The nose knows, right? But
Yeah.
when you're buying online or in a store and you can't touch and feel and smell, how else can we choose the flower that we're going to purchase? That's what Mendo is going to start changing. And signing up with Mendo, um, as opposed to how it used to be for years, we say, you know, register within 20 clicks,
Hmm.
where you can come onto the website, register an account, click on a link to schedule a consultation with one of our medical partners. Um, they will call you. They will do a telemedicine interview.
Hmm.
You may or may not need to speak with a second party. You'll start with the nurse and fill out an intake form and things like that. And then usually within 24 to 48 hours, you get your response and then you can begin placing orders on Mendo. So we wanted to make it very accessible, very easy. Um, you know, a lot of our patients have anxiety issues. They don't want to go through the stress. Veterans don't want to go through the stress of registering, going to see their own doctor, taking a
Ex-
paper here. They get
exactly.
50, yeah, they get 50% of the way and then they just give up because the government didn't make it easy for them. So Mendo will, and that's what we do.
Do you guys make it easy to get the growing portion as well?
Yeah, so we offer through our medical partners. It's not us, but through our medical partners, you can get your ACMPR grow license. They'll help you get through it and then be able to send the information off to Health Canada to get you approved. And the reason we felt that was important was because you can grow it yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can grow really good weed yourself. Even a beginner can do it himself, and for pennies on the dollar once you're set up.
Yep.
So we recently signed an agreement with a nursery called Mother Labs. And Mother
Nice.
Labs has very nice, clean genetics, and we've been to the facilities and we know these people very well. And in June, we're going to be offering three genetics that will be shipped directly from Mother Labs to ACMPR patients.
Directly.
Uh,
Okay. That was actually, I actually had a question. One of my questions was, I saw that you had Mother Labs and the Mendo partnership, and it was going to be, are they going to ship them to you and then you guys ship them out? But I like hearing that they're shipping them directly from their facility to make sure that there is no pathogens, to make sure that they're guaranteed clean, right?
yeah,
I like that.
absolutely. Really important. And so it'll be an indica and a sativa and a balance and a high CBD strain to start, and more will start coming out. And you could buy one clone, or you can buy multiple clones. Um, and I shouldn't say clones because really what we're selling is the genetics.
Okay.
Um, and I know they come in clone form, but it's really the proven genetic
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
we're selling.
Yeah.
Something that's, almost a guarantee, no brainer, no fail, plug and play. So those plants are going to be shipped in a clamshell. It's a plastic clamshell, and and the clone is in there, and it has a little light, so it can stay alive in there for like up to two
Oh, like a
weeks.
plant in a block box style.
Very similar. Yeah,
Very
it's a
similar.
it's a
Cool.
newer technology. They've tested it. It's phenomenal, and they're obviously going to guarantee, if something doesn't survive, it will
Totally.
be replaced. Um,
Would we be
so yeah,
able to
we're really
only
excited about
would we be able to only purchase the amount of clones that are licensed to what we can grow, or is there a limit on, or if we wanted to purchase 50, we can purchase 50. If we wanted to purchase 200,
Well,
we can
no,
purchase
it's going to
200.
go by your license, right? It's going
License?
to go
Okay.
by your license. Yeah, yeah, we'll have to do that. We got to stay compliant.
Yeah.
Um,
I wasn't sure if
but
they came rooted or if they came cuts or how they come from Mother Labs. Because I remember back in 2019, I went to the Lift Expo and I talked to Mother Labs, and they were mentioning they were going to try and come out with this, and then the pandemic happened, and I think that obviously put everything on hold. And it's nice to see you guys being the first, I think, to be able to offer this, because that's one thing that it's big in with my grow, and I've had problems with, is pathogens and keeping my plants clean and making sure that I am bringing in genetics, or really good genetics, that aren't going to create any problems. And you can never guarantee it when you don't get it from a place like Mother Labs. Mother Labs is clean. It's literally a laboratory for cannabis clones, tissue culture. They guarantee things like you don't get that anywhere else. And you guys being able to offer that is amazing.
yeah, well, also, these are the types of genetics that people are going to mother out, and have this genetic, and you're not going to have to, and you'll be able to cut your own clones eventually if that's what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are strains that people are just daily drivers that people are going to want. And we
Mm-hmm.
chose them very carefully. We think people will be really happy with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time goes by, similar to how they do it in the States, in Colorado, in Los Angeles, in Washington, in Vegas, is we'll have these big drops, and it'll be like that Nike drop or that Supreme drop, and
Nice.
that specific, really sought after genetic will be limited, um, and hopefully that will really help people get started. We're not looking for the guys who want to buy 500 or 1,000 clones,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Medical patients who want to grow 4 to 50 plants, and this is, how they consume their medicine, and I think it's going to work out really well.
I think it will. I think it will too. I think you guys are going to dominate in that. Being the first, I think you guys are going to do really well, especially being out there in Quebec too. I think you guys have your laws are a little bit different compared to ours in Ontario with the recreational growing, right? Right. I don't
Yeah.
know. Can you guys grow your 4 plants recreational yet? Has it passed?
Right now we can because the judge overturned the ruling that Quebec had, and now they're going to the Supreme Court and this and that. And even if you did get caught doing it, it's a very minor fine and misdemeanor, and nobody's really out there looking. I haven't heard of anyone getting into trouble for growing their 4 plants indoor or outdoor, as long as they followed the rules
Hmm.
uh, set out by Health Canada, which is a national agency.
Yeah.
Um, so we feel good about that, and seeds will be coming too.
Oh, seeds. Okay. Okay. Is there any leaks that you can give us on a genetic?
Not yet, but very soon there will be an announcement. There will be an announcement, and maybe I will come on to this, come on to a stream or into the Discord and drop it a little a few hours before it goes live. Give you guys the inside tip.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm grateful for that. We were just talking about growing and stuff, and you said you were. I think you mentioned that you have a grow. Do you have a personal grow, and what kind of method do you use when you are growing?
Yeah, no, I'm not a grower.
You're not okay.
Not me personally. You know, at our facility, I leave that to the experts.
Okay.
I'm an amateur at best. Um, and that's fine. Just growing was never a passion of mine. You know, I have so many interests in this industry, and you know, maybe in the future that's something that I'd like to do. But being so busy and the amount of care and time that it takes to grow the flower the way that I would want it grown, I just don't have the time to do it. So I leave that to the pros. And I'd rather support their stuff. And there's still a lot of legacy growers out there that I'm in contact with that I purchase from,
Mm-hmm.
because I just want nice clean cannabis.
You're growing the
Um,
Mendo brand. That's what.
yeah, yes, we're growing the Mendo brand right now and helping a lot of people. And the future looks bright for Mendo. The future looks bright for medical cannabis across Canada. We couldn't be
Totally.
happier right now. A lot of people think medical is dead. It is not dead. It
No,
is growing. It is a real thing, and we're not going anywhere. And we have a lot of exciting new plans coming up really soon.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of some growers and stuff, who are some of your favorite growers that you guys have?
On our site right now, there's a company out of Alberta called Uprise. And Uprise has is doing some really phenomenal work. Um, a lot of their stuff is sold out on our site right now. It's all coming back in, but their Punch Breath 9 is fantastic. Everything that they brought in has just been getting phenomenal reviews. Those guys are great. Out east, in the Maritimes, there's a company called Truro Cannabis out of Nova Scotia. They're doing some fantastic things. Distinct Cannabis is also doing some really clean, beautiful flower, great genetics. Um, you know, I particularly love the Z Splitter and the First Class Funk from Ghost Drops. It's you know, a phenomenal group of people who got these genetics, who are working with LPs who are growing it. They're dialing in the rooms, and the strains keep getting better each and every time. I like where they're headed. I like the community vibe that they put out. They seem to truly care about the cannabis community and want to expand it in the legacy in the regulated market. I have total respect for them for that. Cody Colson is making some beautiful hash
Oh
using
yeah.
caramel flour. Very passionate young man, very knowledgeable. I think as he gets older and grows the company, I think they can do something very special. I spent a lot of time in LA over the years, you know, kind of cutting my teeth in the business, working with the Maywood Cookies crew, with Frosty. I was just there, and I was able to pick up some edibles and flour. I tried so many different categories, and you
Hmm.
know, we're still 5 years behind where they are in terms of where I think Canada needs to be in terms of quality.
So you think
Uh,
U.S. has better quality than Canada?
um, More options. So what I found was that the quality of the pre-rolls were better. The edibles were light years ahead using strain specific you know, strain specific edibles is where we need to get using, you know, nano emulsions, faster onset, better bioavailability. Our bodies are not made of oil. Our body does
Hmm.
not want oil in it. We're made of water. Oil and water don't mix. So when I take a 100 milligram gummy that's a distillate and I eat it, a very small percentage of the of the THC is being absorbed by the
Yeah.
time it gets to my intestines. It's hit or miss. The dosages aren't as accurate, but we'll get there. We'll get there because I think that we're really far behind in the edibles category, in the vapes as well. The vape pen that I got there from 710 Labs, which was a live rosin vape in a pod system with a battery, a proprietary battery, gave the most clouds, best flavor I've ever had, and I've tried them all.
And they're half
Uh,
grams, you said?
yeah, half grams.
Half gram
Uh,
vapes, nice, yeah. I
yeah,
I've
perfect.
heard the half gram vapes are really big down there. I heard the infused pre rolls are big, which are now starting to come out up here. And then, like you said, the edibles are just light years ahead down there because they pretty much have like bakeries making these edibles, not just
Correct.
kind of like a machine making it and then someone chopping it up and putting it in a bag, right?
And it was nice to be able to get a package of raspberry gummies where I had 10 milligram gummies.
Yeah.
So I had 100 milligrams in my package, and they tasted phenomenal, and no cannabis taste. Not that I would mind that much, but some people do.
Hmm.
And then I had an infused joint, which was 2 grams of cherry do with a snake of papaya cake live rosin. So you guys know what a donut is. They call it a hash hole. So as it burns, you can actually look down the center
Oh,
and
cool.
see the rosin bubbling and smoking. It's delicious. It was by a company and a gentleman called Fidel, who's well known out there. And I brought a lot of that knowledge up to Vancouver back in 2015. Started working with some medical companies, some vape companies, one called Flight, and started distributing that all over Canada.
Oh,
Met with a lot of extractors and growers. And once legalization happened, I started kind of a talent agency. And with all these people that I met at Karma Cup or in Westfest or all these events, I would say, hey, this company, for example, Greybeard, which is a
mm,
company out, in your neck of the woods, they were looking for an extractor to help build out their BHO laboratory, their hydrocarbon extraction laboratory.
okay.
So I knew an extractor from Halifax, around that area, who had a legacy brand of extracts called um, what was it called? Blasted. And he made diamonds and sauce, and he was phenomenal. Top five in Canada, top three maybe extractors. And we placed him with Greybeard, and he built out their facility, and we got something out of it as well, and
Mhm.
helped build the Greybeard brand. And that's something we hang our hats on. And when that contract was over, we moved to another extraction facility in Oakville, Ontario. We helped build out this 25,000 square foot um, bulk ingredient extraction facility, processing facility that did bulk distillates, bulk isolates, CBD
Okay.
isolate, CO2, and would sell those in bulk to other gummy manufacturers or whatever they needed,
To
bulk
make their, yeah,
distillate.
exactly.
And then we left, and we had met Mendo or Medicibus because we had approached them to extract some of their flower and just built a relationship. And then when my contract was over in Oakville, we approached them, and we've been with Mendo ever since. And
Taking off,
this is
blasting
this is where
off.
we'll stay.
Yeah, exactly. Would you rather, I know you're just talking about going on your vacation there. Would you rather smoke flower or concentrates?
But it depends on. There's some times where I just want to get the terps and the flavor in my mouth, and get a certain level of effects that a dab will give me, but nothing will hit you like smoking a bowl, right? Or
Yeah,
nothing will hit you like smoking a
agree.
joint. No extract will give you that feeling.
Agree.
So time and place and situation and desired effects, yes. Now, my terp fridge is full of 9DU live rosin, you know, ice water hash, strain and micron specific. And I'm a big solventless guy. I also will bring in legacy brands like Kind Selections, when they have some stuff that I want, who's a probably the top number one hydrocarbon extractor in Canada right now, who hopefully will be coming into the regulated market soon. Um, and then I'll have my 5 strains of flour, right? And
Hmm.
I'll rarely. I know what I like, and I'm loyal to those strains.
Same.
And there's a time for a joint, and there's a time for a dab. And
I agree. That's exactly what I always say here too. I'm always saying like, find the strains that you like because the strains that I tell you I like aren't going to be the same. Like if I like memberberry or I like mandarin cookies for these reasons, it's not going to be the same reasons why you like it because it reacts to everyone differently. And like there's always a lot of guys who are like, oh, dabs are better than flour, flour is better than dabs. But like I'm like what you just said. I always feel when I smoke flower, I get that the hit in the face. Like I get that hit. I get that hard hit I'm looking for. When I smoke dabs, I feel like I'm getting a hard hit, yes, but I don't feel like that 80 to 90% THC is hitting me any harder than that 15 to 25% THC flower, all I'm removing is the contaminants and all that, like a cleaner smoke. And but for the most part, that hit in the face when you want that, I'm always getting that with flower way more.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. We used to do our dabs on red hot titanium nails
Mm-hmm.
at 1,000 degrees, and you'd be sweating and tearing and coughing, and yeah, you'd be high, but was it an enjoyable experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only a couple of years ago did we start learning,
About the terps.
boiling points, terpenes, So I'm a cold start guy.
Same.
I put my product in there, hit it just till that first bubble starts to appear, pull that heat away, hit it, reheat as necessary. I enjoy the Puffco Peaks.
Yep.
I find them very convenient. It's a great device,
Very
especially
nice.
with the newest technology with their 3D chamber. You can't go wrong. Great for someone to just getting started into dabbing. You don't need a mothership and a blazer, to start. But there is no experience like doing some nice water hash in a nice clean quartz banger, right?
Yeah, and then when you have a blazer, you obviously have to have the TBL knob on it too,
Yeah, I told you I'll provide my address after.
right?
That's good stuff.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I love dabs. I love flower. I love edibles. I love topicals. I love, the oils, roll on, muscle joint pain relief, CBD.
They work well,
Here,
those?
here we go. This one works fantastic. Has that menthol, that
Yeah.
eucalyptus. And when I get that tension in my neck, I rub it on, and in 30 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, like how is this
Really?
working?
Okay. Well, that's something I want to look into with my lower back.
And when it's made well. And what you were talking about before, and I have a word for that. It's called bio-individuality. Okay, bio-individuality I define as, what's going to affect one person one way is not going to affect someone the other way,
Totally.
right? Bioavailability on flour. Flour is going to hit you differently at different times of day. Whether how you feeling, how full is your stomach, what's your blood sugar level at, it's just, and then keep smoking the same strain, you're not getting those same effects. And
Hmm.
how to mix in different terpene combinations, because the first time you smoke a new strain, it never kind of hits you that same way again,
Exactly. Yeah. Or the
right?
first day, mine is always that I can smoke it throughout the day and it doesn't hit the same except for the very first bowl in the morning. Every morning, that first bowl is like, oh, it's hitting that strain all over again. And then the next bowl is like, okay, you get the terps and all that, but it's not the same hit, right? It's not the same to me.
Agreed.
That's
Agreed.
and then I've actually over the last couple weeks now I've been not so much testing or limiting myself, but what I was finding is I was consuming and then I would consume again 15 minutes and I would consume again in 15 minutes just because I was streaming or doing whatever, and then I was finding out that I wasn't even letting the first hit fully give me the effect, and then I was topping up in between, and those top ups weren't doing anything. It was just
Right. Nothing.
wasting. It wasn't doing anything except for just wasting. And so now kind of separating them, doing like a 40 to 50 minute interval between or an hour in between seems to really allow me to either carry the high a little bit or the hit a little bit longer, or it just gives me a better overall feeling again, right? It gives me that effect that I'm looking for again rather than
Yeah.
it's
Well,
interesting.
we all have an endocannabinoid system in our body.
Hmm.
What we don't have is a Zoloft system, or
Yeah, exactly.
or an ibuprofen system, right?
Exactly.
Well, technically we kind of do, but um, when those receptors shut down after that first joint and it's not allowing anything in, you can keep smoking and smoking and smoking. You're not going to get higher,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But sometimes it's just it's the process that we like too.
Yeah,
It's packing the bowl or rolling that joint or hitting
exactly.
that thing. It's the process, or getting the terps in your mouth. And what's better than hitting a great joint that's really terpy, or a dab, and then like 15 minutes later you're watching TV and you're just like, and it's still there, and it's
Yeah, exactly.
delicious, and you're just like, this, what could be better, right?
Yep. Literally nothing. Well, I'm talking about good products here. What is your number one sold product on Mendo?
I would say it's our vanilla frosting tops and our vanilla frosting AAA. The vanilla frosting AAA is like a $99 ounce, and it wasn't hand trimmed or hang dried, but it was still really terpy, really great tasting, beautiful, bag appeal, and we were really happy to be able to offer it at a price that we felt was a value
Hmm.
compared to other products similarly priced. It was in another stratosphere. And then our vanilla frosting tops, where when you order a 14-gram bag and you only get 3 nugs or 4 nugs in there, people are really happy with that. So that's really great. The Mac One from Kraft that we just put back up was a great seller. So when it comes to flower, almost anything in the Mendo Select category, because that's one that's kind of J approved, that's really there's not really that much comparable in the industry.
Hmm.
Lot 420 always sells really well. The Ghost Drops, First Class Funk, and the Z Splitter were obviously big sellers for prepackaged goods that we get, stuff we didn't package
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah.
We package ourselves in Mendo Select is our best selling category. After that, I would say it's the Ghost Drops. Next Friday, Noble Growth. These guys are using Tuna Room genetics. They're fantastic growers. They were legacy growers going back 10 years. Their jet fuel, their fine cookies, which is a biscotti ice cream cross, their cream and tina,
Hmm.
their blueberry sorbet, which I think we're dropping next week, which is probably one of the nicest bag appeals that I've seen in anything, and also hits well and burns clean.
Has it got
Once
that
in a
blue
while,
shine to it on the leaves?
yeah. I'll send you some pictures of it. He just
Nice.
emailed me, and so that's really nice. So yeah, and then we go into the vape categories, and people are still you know, buying vapes based on price. So
Yeah.
they're buying distillate cartridges. Glacial Gold is the purest distillate I've ever tried. Their one-to-one CBD THC is a daily driver of mine. I have it right here. Cleanest oil, proprietary system that they use. So, people laugh at distillate and call it hot dog water. There is a market for it. There is a use for it. I don't particularly like isolating cannabinoids. But if I was going to smoke a distillate cartridge, it would be Glacial Gold. I have no skin in the game. It just happens to be my favorite and why I
Hmm.
chose to market them. Um, and then there's the Greybeard carts, which are a little more expensive, which are probably the best live resin carts out there. Edibles, there's no bestseller. Oils, Metafarm Labs, the CBG and CBNs and THC combinations that they have now, their nighttime and relax formulas, those are really good sellers. Um,
That's
Everybody
nice.
wants something different.
You don't see a lot of those products too on the recreational market either. Like you get a lot different things. You get a lot of products that we're looking for in the rec market, or what a lot of people are looking for in the rec market. You just can't get, right.
Yeah, we
Nice.
recently dropped a CBG only flower, no THC, no CBD, 14% CBG. I think we were the first in
14.
Canada. I think we were the first
Interesting.
in Canada to provide it. It's by a company called Flourish, and the strain was Panacea. I think it just sold out, but we're restocking. I think one's going to be a 14, one lot was 8%, but we're going to be offering it in larger 14-gram formats now and 3.5s as well.
And that is nothing added to flour. It is just a
Just
strain
hemp.
that is just, yeah, hemp that is just grown without. Interesting. It's got because I know looking into some of the science and stuff behind it, I guess the CBG can almost be turned into any cannabinoid through processing. It's like the base cannabinoid that can be changed to CBD. It can be changed to THC, Delta 8, Delta 10, Delta 11, or whatever, all these deltas that are coming out now, right? It's very interesting. It's cool to see that you guys have something like that, because I know there is a market from, obviously, TBL being worldwide. Here in the States, obviously, it's very popular down that way and stuff. Or
Yeah.
deltas and the I think CBN. I think CBN. I think my flower might be the next thing that I'm hearing about.
Yeah, CBN, great for sleep. We have a CBN CBD oil and a CBN THC oil
Okay.
that are fantastic, some of our best sellers. It's unfortunate over the past 20 years, we've lost so many genetics due to the fact that growers were growing for THC content
Yeah.
rather than anything else, right? So
Totally.
I want those legacy strains back.
Because
I want those, I have a 17% THC that'll hit you harder than any 30% on the market,
we were talking
right?
about that yesterday about how it's the market is still. I don't know the numbers or anything, but it still seems like density and THC percentage still sells. And it's still there is still obviously still people trying to push those numbers and stuff. And then you look at the series on YouTube, the strain hunters that are looking for the land races, trying to get those original terps. They always have lower THC. It seems like when they test them out. But once you start to breed them and you get to breed from a base like that, you can bring in the different things that you want, like maybe resilience to different pests or resilience to different molds and pathogens, and you can bring in more maybe something that has those nice resin rings and those frost rails, right? Like you can breed it and start from a base. And
Absolutely. Look, Manic Canuck in the chats just said we lost all that skunk, right? That skunk number one that I used to smoke in high school. I'm 47 years old, but back in the early 90s, it was all skunk, right? It was hydro, it was skunk, it had that smell. You can't find that anymore. I'd
yeah,
kill for that. Imagine that in an extract.
yeah, true.
You know,
It,
that's
it,
something.
it was
It's
actually
all
funny. It was at the expo, at the 420 Expo in Niagara last weekend. There was a company there that was selling sprays to eliminate the cannabis smell, and they had skunks all over their booth. And I was gonna go up there, and I was gonna be like, "If you can find a strain that smells like skunk, let us all know, because any grower's looking for it." And
absolutely.
it was funny that it was just that people are still trying to advertise that skunk smell when you smell any of the strains I have now. I think the memberberry would be the closest thing, and I think that one of the mothers in it is skunkberry, I think. And then
Nice.
so you
You're
got.
getting me all hyped up on this member berry because now I must have some member berry.
I'll have to see who's growing it still. I don't grow it anymore, but there's a couple guys in TVL who are growing it still.
Sweet,
So,
sweet, sweet.
speaking of quality and the best sellers and stuff, what is the term quality to you? Like when you see someone advertising, this is the AAA quality, this is the best quality solvent list. What does that term quality mean to you?
It's definitely not THC percentage. Um, you know, when we bring in bulk to our R&D facility and we test it,
Mm-hmm.
so obviously the first thing is I do is I look at the bud. I touch it, I feel it. I know I feel the density of it, and you know you can tell how it was grown. I also ask a lot of questions to the growers, and I'll interview and I'll ask, you know, what their methods are and what they're using to feed it, and you know if obviously we stay away, we don't purchase anything that's been irradiated. Like if you have
Mm-hmm.
to irradiate your flower because you're nervous about mold, then you're doing something wrong and you don't know how to finish the process.
Mm-hmm.
So that cure, we know how important that cure is, you know, and burping it properly and you know, getting it packaged and keeping that, you know, I'd like to see somewhere around a 12% moisture content in the flower that we purchase. So that's what I'm looking for first. Then I'm kind of breaking it open and kind of just really getting the aroma and the smells and trying to get a good idea of the terp content. And I haven't looked at any of the analysis yet.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
look at that last. I don't want to know the terp content, the THC content, CBD content relevant. Um, well, then I'll grind it up. I'll see how it grinds up, how it feels in my hand. You know, I like to get that kinetic sand kind of movement when
Yeah.
I kind of play and then let go, and it's still kind of moving around in terms of moisture. And then again, another smell test, and then you know I'll see how it rolls. I'll spark it up. Usually within the first two puffs, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at ash. You know, I'm looking at the consistency and the density of the ash as well. Um, and then the smoke. Not really looking for effects right now, but I'm looking about how it burns, about how it tastes. You know, the overall experience of it. And then I'll pull up the COAs and I'll take a look at the THC content and I'll take a look at the terpene content and we'll start grading it in about 14 different points, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, which will give us a, you know, a final score.
Mm-hmm.
So the quality of the genetic, the quality of the methods of how they grew it, and then everything else once it arrives at the patient's hand, in the patient's hands, in the member's hands. Um, it's hard to really verbalize it. I guess it's also feel and experience that you know, I couldn't just bring someone in and say, okay, follow all these steps to tell me if it's good flour or not.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's really, I think just experience has a lot to do with it as well, and feel for the people and feel for the plant.
It's nice that you get to go through the whole testing and be able to quality test it yourself, be able to hand pick, and
Yeah.
it's cool to go on the website and you see the Jay's picks, right? But it's almost like the whole website is Jay's picks. It's not just one a couple strains. You are picking
I
everything.
know I don't know if I need to narrow it down more, but those really are ones that I consume myself.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's too big a category and you know, and I want to give something for everybody. And every time I go in there, I'm like, man, I got to cut like 50% of the stuff out of here. Uh, I'm not just putting on a Jay's pick of something that I want to move or sell because I won't put anything on the site that I wouldn't consume myself.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's not true because there are times where there are patients that are happy with a $65 ounce of pink kush that's 20% that was harvested 8 months ago that I got for really cheap that I can put on there just so because there's people that are just very happy with that because
For cheaper. Yeah,
the
budget friendly.
there isn't much, yeah, like I won't put anything on that is dry that there's no, psychoactive effects. I'll write a disclaimer saying this is priced this way because it was harvested here, it was trimmed this way, it was tray dry,
Hmm.
and there's not much smell and it's pretty dry, but it'll still give you the effects that you're looking for. So transparency is really important to our members and
Totally.
them know if I'm going to put something on the site that's really cheap, it's because I found something that's actually good that's cheap.
Totally, totally. Do you guys sell any type of accessories or anything, or looking into selling accessories? And now that you grow into
Yeah.
clones, like growing
Yeah.
accessories?
Right. So what will be coming soon, and it may or may not be partnered with Mendo, is a starter kit to grow at home. Right. So it'll
Nice.
include the tents and the lights and the food and the soil and everything that goes along with it and the clones. And here you go and get started with, you know, some type of manual that maybe you and I will write together. You
That'd be
to get
awesome.
started from your team, in cooperation with the Bud Lab and
That
Mendo.
sounds great.
Kind of a turnkey grow kit that'll all be maybe even labeled as a cross between our two companies. That could be really interesting. Right now we have Puffco Peaks and
Nice.
Carda V's and all sorts of rolling papers and trays and grinders
Out of
and
the
pre
uh, the
cones.
the Puffco and the Carta, which one sells more?
The Puffco.
Do you have the new Carta V2?
We have the original Carta for the
Okay.
moment that we wanted to because it was priced half of the Puffco.
Hmm.
That's the reason I chose that one. Because if
Nice.
you're gonna go with a device that's over $300,
Hmm.
I want you to buy the Puffco. That's the J
Yeah,
pick,
yeah, 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 yeah. Totally.
right? But if you only want to spend 185, then go with the Carta because you're gonna get great performance out of that one as well.
Yeah, I've tried them all. I know Carta came out with the V2, and that's why I just asked. I wasn't sure if you had the V2
Yeah,
yet. They just came out.
we
I don't
have
even know if it's
it.
released yet.
Yeah, I've seen it. It has a digital display now, and
Yeah,
yeah, it
bigger
looks really
bowl.
good.
Yeah,
You're
it
doing
looks
good things.
nice. Yeah, I've got
I
the
think, and
original
also,
Carta.
oh, you do, and you're happy with it?
I don't use it very often. I just think the atomizer is too small, personally.
Yeah,
Just for so I did get something called the Wuka, which is more of a portable e-nail style. So it actually
right,
has. It's not an atomizer. It's an e-nail, but it's portable,
right.
and it worked all right too. But it has like a post in the middle of the bowl, and it was just a pain to clean. And then it just again wasn't big enough. I was always overfilling it, and then the new Puffcos though, it seems really nice, and with that 3D chamber, even better.
Yeah, and then you're never because that was the problem with Puffco was that the atomizers were breaking and constantly, so they fixed that. But now, no, I mean it's all you need. The
Yeah,
bowl clean perfectly white when you're done. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal product. I highly, highly recommend it,
nice.
and it's worth the money because it'll last you for years. It's just a fantastic product. And I remember I had one of my first dabbers, or e-nails rather, was the Dr. Dabber Boost that
Hmm.
had that screw little titanium nail that had
Yeah,
the post in the center,
yeah,
and it
exact
was
same.
too thin to get a Q-tip to even go around it.
Yep.
You have to pull cotton
Exactly.
off the Q-tip or twist it, to get it all around there. And then they came out with, quartz versions and things like that. But that was the first electronic device I ever used, when I first started dabbing as well.
When I first started streaming, I got when you said you worked for Flight, was it Flight Labs, the vape
No, it was
company?
just it was Flight. They had yeah, it was just vape pens and they had
Okay.
some
We got
and
sponsored by a company, or by, or I guess it was actually more of a head shop that gave us a Flight Labs vape, and it was like this tall vape that had a big chamber, perfect for dabs, and I was using it all the time, and I liked it. And then
right.
I also had the Carta, and a couple other different vapes, and I don't know. I never ever seem to like it. Like the boost, I think, I don't know if he's still here in the chat, but one of our members won that boost one that you're talking about, and he said he used it for a night his bedside table vape. But
Yeah.
every vape I've ever tried, though, it just seems like I can't get the hit I'm looking for, and then I'm like, okay, where's the e nail? Where's the e nail? Or where's the torch? Where's the bowl? Like,
Well, those devices are meant to be portable, right? So
yeah,
whether it's the Yo can and you're just dropping in your stuff and you're
yeah.
just hitting, stealth like, um, there you go.
So
Yeah.
I found these. I don't know if I can. Yeah, okay. I don't know where I can get these little chambers. Oh, I can't get it out. But this is an actual chamber that I can fill myself with my own rosin. So I put a
Mhm.
half gram of my
Yeah.
own rosin, and it goes in the 510, and then I can just haul, which is nice because then I'm like making my own solventless carts, right? Like not having to do any. And because
Yeah.
when you're making solventless carts, a lot of times you're having to put them in an oven or some type of, and you're pretty much, I don't want to use the term degrading it or aging it,
You're
but
dehardening it.
yeah, you're changing the consistency of it so it allows it to flow better in the carts. But with
Yeah.
this, I don't have to do any of that. I can literally stick my little quarter gram in there or whatever, and then I can smoke it full. And it's pretty good flavor for the first little bit, but they don't last long in the carts. But I bought it for like $5. I can't seem to find them anywhere anymore. Like ones
I know.
that I can put my own in.
Yeah, I got you for that too.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
got you
really?
for that too. I got the hookup, and they're in Ontario too.
Yeah, they're awesome. I love them.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
those are fantastic devices.
Okay, I've got an important question here. Okay, this is probably one of the most important questions, and you need to be honest. Okay. Do canned potatoes have a place on this earth? What is your opinion on them?
Canned potatoes? Canned potatoes. Yes, they do. Because, if you're having a dinner party and you're roasting some chicken or things like that, you just want those little tiny potatoes. So you can buy a can of those in water, and you got your potatoes, and you're in a rush, and you don't have time to melon ball out your potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
or you couldn't find the small ones and cook them
Yep.
on time. Open that can, dump out those potatoes, put around the chicken, toss it in the oven. Let's go.
Perfect. I like the answer. Awesome.
Totally have a place on this earth.
That was the
Totally
greatest
have a place on this earth.
greatest answer right there. That was perfect. Hey, Chad, that was perfect.
Let's fucking go. I'm sure there's a backstory to that question, but I won't ask.
That is funny. What are some products that you've seen on the market that just don't belong, and they just try to sell them?
Edibles in the shapes of dicks.
You've seen that? No
It's on
way.
music right now. Edibles in the shape. Boobs and dicks are not required.
No way.
Material. Don't need it. Don't want it. Not funny. Not impressed.
They
Ciao, bye.
for the one sale of a year for a bachelor or bachelorette party. Is that what they're trying to go for? Is that the market? Like,
Well, that's a terrible business plan.
I know that's exactly what I'm thinking. What about? Did you see? I don't know if it was a meme or what, but the canna bumps. It was powdered cannabis. I don't know how they did it. And it was literally in a glass, and it was a bump that you were supposed to do. You were supposed to snort it. And they were advertising it as canna bumps. And it came in, people were sending it to me, and I guess it was actually a product that they tried to put on the market. And I don't think it ever was approved, but it it was
I never
bad.
heard of that. That's scary. So yeah, I don't want my cannabis compared to alcohol,
Yeah,
cigarettes, or narcotics.
good answer.
So I don't want to do a bump of cannabis,
Same.
nor do I want my extracts molded into a tab that I could drop in my banger, pre-made dose
No.
of extracts, that kind of look like a pill, a flat
Yeah, I've seen those too.
octagon pill. I don't need that. I don't need that. I also, and there's a market for it, and I have, every teach their own, pre-ground flour. Pre-ground flour, I'm very surprised how
Well,
much of it sells.
I know. When the market when it became legal and I started the stream, the first thing we were talking about was what's going to last and what's not going to last, and we were like, there's no way the milled flour is going to go. But it's huge in Europe, milled tobacco, and I think because a lot of Canadians have a European background, I think it was natural they saw it. Can get papers, can get milled flour, let's go. And I know a lot of my viewers, they like that. They like, and I'm not saying they like buying the milled flour, but they all roll. And
Convenient.
and if you're getting these blends, because I think most of the mills are a blend that are striking these flavors or smells at you, right? I don't know. It's like it seems like yeah, if they only have a 20% market, I guess they're selling. Because I was looking like for the first what year, Shred I think was the top seller for the first year and a half, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So,
It's
I teach his own, right? And there's no right or wrong.
yeah.
You and I made like to examine the bud and hold it and look at it and pull it off the stems and break it up and have that experience. Other people, I got kids. I got an hour before I got to go get them to bed. I can just run to the garage, just pull up my bag, just scoop it out,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in and out. No grinder, no mess, no fuss, no waste. Um, so that surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
But you had the question was, is there anything that should not be on the market? Um, I don't believe that shouldn't be on the market.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay.
surprising. It's so popular.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. I actually was surprised with infused pre rolls. I didn't think there was really a market for that 3 years ago because in the content and I as someone who consumes concentrates, I really think you're really consuming it for more of the flavor than the overall THC because as someone who consumes it, I don't think the overall THC gives me more of effect. I think it's the terpene values.
Hmm.
So if you're putting it in some type of pre-roll, you've lost all that. A lot of time. I'm not saying you've lost all. I guess I shouldn't say you've lost all of it, but you've lost like a dab would some high quality shatter, some high quality live resin, or some high quality bubble hash would taste way better, smoke way better in a banger or in the appropriate method. I think when it's in a pre-roll, I think I don't know. I think it's lowering the quality of it. So, in my opinion, I just didn't think there would be. I think it's 45% of the sales in California are infused pre rolls now, and I didn't think it would be that high.
Yeah, so I bought one when I was in California last week. I was mentioning
Yeah.
the hash, and it was really enjoyable because it was a quality pre-roll.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it all comes down to. I don't need a pre-roll laced with keef. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want a pre-roll that has whatever distillate kind of
Mm-hmm.
wrapped around wax, as they used to call it. But I've been making infused joints since the late 80s, early 90s by I used to have a little jar of hash oil,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of had like a little paintbrush as you twist it
Yeah.
off and I
Okay.
would paint it onto a joint. And was that to get more high? No, it was for the terps, it was for the flavor, it was for,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little different effects. But other than that, I think pre-rolls that are made well will or have a big place
Yeah. I,
in the industry. But I'm talking like really premium
yeah. Yeah.
infused.
That's what I
That
like.
that's what
Like
premium ones.
I always looked at blunts as being something, and my chat always looks at me and says, "No, no, you're crazy, you're crazy." Like I look at blunts as being a luxury smoke, but a lot of guys in the states look at blunts saying, "No, no, 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 that's not a luxury smoke," right? And then
Mhm.
now it seems like in the states, like it's the infused pre rolls. That's your luxury smoke. Your canagars. That's your luxury smoke. A blunt, no, that's just a blunt, right? But here, blunts are like huge sellers. Like they're like a luxury style or marketed to be luxury, marketed to be a little bit more expensive, a night
Yeah.
out, right?
And for a certain segment of the market who's lives in that culture, right? Backwoods has a culture behind it, but we
Yeah.
can't sell tobacco-based products in the regulated market, so they're
Mm-hmm.
wrapped in a hemp wrap. So, for example, Benny Bluntos, those are phenomenal sellers at the OCS, and they happen to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Drops has a 1 gram blunt in the Khalifa mints and the First Class Funk and the Z Splitter that are beautiful and burn and clean and taste really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a blunt guy particularly, but there are a lot of people are. And whether that's following, the hip hop community or the urban community in certain cities, or people want to do what they see in music videos or in Instagram posts and things like that, and they want to feel like they're a part of it and make that post and show their blunt. Great. If that makes
Mm-hmm.
you happy, fantastic. I'm happy for them.
No, I like that. I like that. I didn't know that Ghost Drops had the blunts. I thought they were actually just pre rolls, like large pre rolls. I didn't know they were blunts.
Yeah, they have point 0.5 pre-rolls and 1 gram blunts.
Oh, very cool. And all the blunts are all wrapped with tea. Is that what it is in the
It's a
market?
hemp. It's
Oh, they
100% hemp.
oh they are hemp wraps. Okay, I have seen
Yeah.
some of them. I think are tea. I think Loud Plug might be a tea
I
leaf.
think I have to look into that. It's a good
Yeah,
question. So that lab plug who does the biscotti, the Benny Bluntos,
yeah.
I'm gonna find out. But I thought it was a hemp wrap as well.
A chamomile tea leaf. Is that? I don't know how to say that. Hey Howie in the chat.
We have pre-rolled cones on Mendo in the accessories category. There's a rose petal.
Really?
There's a goji OG, and there's the palm leaf. All three of those are a different experience.
The
If you're
rose
looking for
petal.
a different wrap, yeah, rose
I
petal.
never. That really interests me. That's another thing I learned too with the chat. There, a lot of people were mentioning that they would grind up fresh mint and they would
Oh,
put it
interesting.
inside their pre-roll, and then they would smoke it, and they would kind of get like a mentholy style.
Selection. Yeah,
And then
that's interesting. I've never heard of that.
now you're mentioning these rose wraps, which is very interesting to me because I can see the market for that. I did see on TikTok there was a couple viral videos of these things that were called women blunts, which were like
Yeah.
rose wraps and all that. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Something I never even knew about.
So the experience with the rose wrap is you would think you would taste the rose when you're smoking on it, but
Yeah.
you don't. Yet when you're holding it in your hand, the essence still is coming through.
Oh,
So it doesn't really have much flavor.
okay. Which is what people are wanting with the wrap. Is I guess not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not so much with a
Nice
blunt.
slow burn. It's a nice slow burn. Yeah, the rose petal was interesting. And
I
for fun here and
Yeah.
there,
Well, it's no
you know.
different than you buying a gold paper for the bachelor party and you cost you $20
Exactly.
for a gold paper, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I've got three more questions here, and then I'll let you
Certainly.
go. It's been a good conversation, man. I feel like we've talked before. I feel like this is like we're homies.
Yeah, I think we just became best friends.
That's awesome to know. Okay, I guess we kind of touched base on this earlier, actually. From an outsider, it looks like it's easier to release or get products released on the Mendo rather than in the rec market here in Ontario. And we see a lot of people who, like you mentioned, Cody, who's been here on TBL talking about his products as well. Um, uh, some of his stuff is released on Mendo first, and then it's never released on the OCS. Is that just it's easier to get into it, or you make it easier? I think you did mention a little bit, but if you want to
Yeah,
finish it off with that.
I did reach out to Cody and said, because the OCS does product calls every few months.
Hmm.
So Cody has to make the product, wait for the call, present it, then get it accepted, then ship it to them. Then it sits on their shelves till it's shipped to the stores. And by that time, it's not as fresh as me just saying, hey, what's available this week? Okay, ship it. It's on the shelves 3 days later. So
Okay.
the freshness of the product on Mendo, you'll see package dates from a week before it drops.
Hmm.
So everything gives us the ability to have fresher products, more novel products. So if he was going to do a small run of something he had only had not enough to supply the OCS with, then he could do a small,
Hmm.
specific, exclusive run for Mendo, and that's what a lot of LPs are doing. A lot of LPs are reaching out to us saying we don't want to deal with the government anymore. We just want to sell all our stuff to Mendo. And we're entering into some supply agreements with some micros and smaller LPs where we're saying, okay, we'll take everything you grow.
That's
And
awesome. Like, I,
and they're super happy.
I wish they would open up the license a little bit to allow people to, like us craft guys, to even have a craft license that is smaller than the micro to allow limited drops. Like,
Yeah.
allow us to only grow maybe 100 plants, to allow us to grow the best quality possible, have a limited of 50 pounds, 20 pound, whatever it works out to be, right? Whatever the harvest is, but it's the best quality possible. And it would
Yeah.
be nice to be able to do limited craft growers who could sell it to an extract place and do limited drop extracts to the medical market or to the rec market or whatever. Like I see. I'm hoping that's the next move. Like I can see it really taking off. Like it seems like when it legalized, it was corporate taking off, and then that didn't work. And now it's all legacy guys going legal, building these amazing brands, and really destroying the market and destroying all the numbers. And now I think the markets, and you've even seen with Greybeard, I think Aurora just bought them out, right? The company behind Greybeard, I think which Aurora was a big corporate company who's now realizing, no, we need to do split brands. We need to get I forget what the other brands. They've got a couple different brands, all these different extracts that they've got, right? Like They're not
Yeah,
using their main brand anymore. They're using the actual legacy or the smaller name brands.
exactly. Because all those people, those cannabis people from Greybeard, have been given full control over all of Aurora's brands now.
Yeah,
So let's see what they do.
yeah. It's gonna a
Let's see what they do.
microbrewery approach. Exactly, Mela. Very very
Yeah.
similar to a microbrewery approach.
Mhm. I'm optimistic about the future of the cannabis industry in Canada. We'll
Yeah.
get there.
I think
We'll
one step was legalizing, next step was educating, and then hopefully we're in the middle of the educating part, so we can get
Yeah.
to the next step. All right, two more questions here. Another important question. Oh, okay, another very important question, and if you get this one wrong, I don't know, we might not allow you back on here. All right.
Okay.
If crushed up strawberries is considered a smoothie, would that make ketchup a tomato smoothie?
Tomatoes are a fruit.
Good question, eh?
Excellent question. Excellent question. I'm leaning both ways because we're talking like you asked me technically, is it a smoothie?
Yeah.
Okay. And the answer is no. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
When I make a smoothie, I take ice, I take the fruits, and I frap it up in my smoothie maker.
Hmm.
I don't add any sugar, I don't add any preservatives, I don't add anything that's in the ingredients in ketchup. So when I look at the back of a Heinz jar, there are too many ingredients that were not present in the tomato. So I can't call it a smoothie because a smoothie is all natural, at least the way that I make it at home.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, so that's why I'm going to say I'm going to say no.
Good answer.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right. The vinegar is the important. Like you said,
There
the
you go.
processing, making sure it's. I guess if you were to get a smoothie that is in the grocery aisle that is sitting there that you have to add water to or something, they might be very similar.
No self-respecting smoothie consumer buys prepackaged smoothies.
True. Well, or knows they're buying prepackaged smoothies. All right, last question. That's funny. Last
Those are
question
the same
here.
people. Those are the same people that buy the milled flour.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. All right.
Complaints can be sent to thebudlab.ca. The views expressed in this podcast are not necessarily the views of the Bud Lab.
That's funny. All right. Last question, man. This has been an awesome fucking time. Last question we have here. What is one suggestion or recommendation you have to someone out here in the chat who might be looking to get into the industry?
Don't. The industry is saturated. To invest money into a LP or a grow right now is high risk. A lot of LPs are closing. The amount of investment that's required to be successful and there's no guarantees there is very difficult. If someone is very serious and they just want to, like yourself, for example, who wanted to build out a small micro, before you do so, reach out to a company like us. Say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. These are the genetics that I want to grow. Are those something that you'd be interested in? I can grow 250 to 500 kilos a year. Is that something that you could support? And making that deal, selling your cannabis ahead of time and knowing that you have a fairly good chance of selling it if you grow
Selling.
good cannabis, and that's my approach right now. Getting investors and getting $10 million together and building out a 10-15,000 square foot cultivation facility and trying to get your flower into the OCS or the SQDC is extremely difficult. I know that's not what you guys want to hear. The reason Mendo is successful and Medicibus would not have been a profitable company without Mendo.
Mhm.
So when we came in and expanded Medicibus who are only growing 2 strains and selling to the SQDC, and then the SQD you offer them 500 cases, but they only take 200. What do you do with the other 300? That's the problem LPs are having right now in the industry.
Yeah.
So not to scare people off, there is a path,
It's just
but
bumpy.
reach out to me, reach out to people in the industry, ask a lot of questions. It's Everything is against you in being successful in this industry. So if you're ready to accept $2 a gram for your flower, and you can be profitable by getting $2 a gram for your flower, or $2.50 or $1.50 for your flower, if you compare that to someone who's growing in the illicit market and the black market or legacy
Mm-hmm.
market, who's getting a lot more, obviously,
Yeah.
$2,000 a pound, $1,500 a pound. I bought flower yesterday for 30 cents a gram,
30,
$300 a
30 cents a gram.
yeah, and I'll sell it for $50 an ounce, and
Can
people will be happy.
Max in the chat, can we get a contact email?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put one into the
Oh, the
chat.
Black Pulley just put one in there.
Yeah, all right, great. I'd be happy. Reach out. Reach out. I love talking shop. I'd love to come back and continue this conversation. This has been amazing, and yeah, I really appreciate your guys' support. So if anyone's looking to consider doing something on their own or joining Mendo, reach out. We'll help you. We're here to support you guys.
That's awesome, man. That's exactly what we need in the industry is more guys like you, more guys trying to make the industry where it needs to go. And the only way to do that is to have people in the industry who are literally leading the way. And you guys, I think, are leading the way. And
Yeah,
that's
and it's people like you too. And I got to thank you as well for the content that you put out in the French language, Twitch and Discord, like got Blackpool, who's helping the French language community. And the education that both of you bring to people who are new to the industry or people who are amateurs or intermediates or even experts. We all have something to learn from each other. Let's share in all that, and let's really enjoy this community that we've built. We're going to start putting together in Ontario, something similar to the Hall of Flowers where we can all get together and talk about cannabis and smoke cannabis and enjoy each other's company. And that's really what we're trying to do now, is bring that sense of cannabis community into the regulated market that's not there right now, something similar to a Karma Cup, something similar to a Westfest or a High Times. Let's start getting those cups going. Let's all work together. Reach out to me if you have ideas. I'm open to them. I have the time for all of you guys. I have a lot of time for you.
That's awesome. Guys, can we get some love in the chat for Jay?
Mhm.
I appreciate you talking with me. I won't take any more time of your day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for now joining into our Discord. Now I've got you set up as the verified, so you should be able to see everything. So if you have anything that you want to leak, if you have any info you want to share, you can see all the different channels. We're pretty much a family from all over the world here. I would say mainly in the States, and then we're split here from Canada and Europe. And what's nice about that is because we have so many minds from all over the world, we can learn the laws from literally every different state, country, place, all the different growing methods, everything. And it's pretty cool. Also allows us to grow this nice, badass TBL library, we'll call it. So we've got some nice
Yeah, no,
genetics in the library.
I'll definitely be in the Discord.
Hmm.
Feel free, guys, to also send me a private message. I answer everything. I'll be in the chat. I'll pop in from time to time here and there, and we'll have some fun, or drop some pictures in the Discord of what's
Awesome.
coming, what's kind of personal stuff I have going on in my head stash, and
Sweet. That's
really
awesome.
fun. It's really great.
Tonight
Really, thanks.
is our sub sesh. If you're, I think I did see on Instagram you do have another show tonight or another interview tonight. So, but tonight is our sub sesh at 8. We do it every Thursday. It's just a whole bunch of growers that gets together, or smokers, and we just talk about whatever comes up. Like last night, I think Pinners was in there, and we were talking with the owner of Pinners. I think he joined right after you joined, and talking about his
Nice.
different products and stuff, and he was showing us his new purples and stuff, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, we're excited about that. We're going to be launching pinners on Mendo probably in the next few weeks.
Oh, nice.
The great pre-roll. We like those guys. They drive nice cars.
Yeah, they do.
That Royce, that new paint job he put on it is
Yeah,
insane.
he's-
We'll get there one day too. But yeah, just really thanks for having me. This has been fantastic. I'd love to do it again. You guys have a fantastic community, and you know,
Thank
We'll
you,
be
man.
seeing each other around soon, I think.
Yes, yes. All right, guys. Say goodbye to Jay. Thanks again. Cheers, man.
Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah. Later.